All right, we're live.
Hey, how's it going?
Congratulations, Tian.
Thank you.
Well done. Here is your winnings for doubles and singles. I'm
Sweet.
sorry about all the ones.
Not a problem.
That is $14 in ones.
More cash for money matches, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And
Yeah.
a nice $50 bill in there. So, so how'd you feel coming into today? It looked like your overall play was pretty clean, but I don't know, mindset-wise, like walking in. I know you haven't. Have you been playing in Connecticut? Like I thought you moved to New Hampshire.
Yeah, so I'm living in New Hampshire at the moment. I haven't played too much like Melee at tournaments, but I've been like labbing a lot with 20XX and just like more than anything else, I think discussing and like theory crafting in the game. So my whole thing about like getting better at Melee is like if you can't go out to tournaments, then at the very least you have to like watch videos and just apply yourself. So I think mentality-wise, like I actually feel like because I had such few expectations for this tournament in terms of like winning or doing well at all, I came in with like the mindset that I would just do my best rather than like I have to like appease like someone with expectations over me or anything like that. So I wasn't really stressed out. I just came for like really good Melee, and I hope some good Melee was played.
Yeah, definitely. I got to watch, especially your top 8 sets, and definitely a lot of really good Melee, especially those grand final sets.
Yeah.
But let's walk through your bracket real quick, just because like the top 8 bracket, because
Sure.
that's what's important. So winner semis, you played Awesome Sean,
Yeah.
and it was a solid 2-0. You went Samus.
No,
You went Sheik for the first time in bracket in top 8. What made you decide to make the change from in top 8 to switch over to your Sheik versus playing your Samus?
Well, I hate saying that there was like one Ice Climbers player around, so I just wanted to like have my Samus ready, like in case I needed to play it. But I've been adopting a few like counter-pick strategies, like on FD, for example. If I needed to play an FD game against Fox, I've been like labbing out Samus for FD because it's a really hard matchup for Sheik on FD. But on Samus, with Samus, it's like it's not quite so bad. So I did have to play a decent amount of Sheik in pools as well, but in top 8 I played like literally all Sheik. I thought about playing Samus against like Tim's Falco, but he's before he's been like an all Marth player, he's dabbled a lot with Spaceys like for years and years. So I thought like the quality of my second best character versus like his second best character, I probably wouldn't have wanted to risk that. So yeah, and the games against Awesome Sean, like he's extremely defensive, and like his Fox is like really hard to catch. So for me, it just felt like if I could get openings and like grabs, he was very beatable. But if it weren't for that, like I was getting walled out and like really dash danced to death. So that was very hard.
Well, I mean, obviously you were able to put your game plan into play basically almost exactly as you needed. I mean, it was still a 2-0. It was still pretty clean.
Yeah.
Was there anything in particular you struggled in? Like, was it just like dealing with like the dash dancey kind of Fox play, or was
Yeah.
it?
So here's the thing, like having ego in Smash doesn't really do you any good. So sometimes like if you play a match that you feel like you're quote unquote supposed to win, that's like a horrible mentality to have. And I think you need to be like, you need to be fluid enough in your mentality to not think, I'm always going to be like, he's always going to be the underdog, or like, I'm expected to win, he's expected to win. I think all those kind of thoughts are like pretty short-sighted. So at various points during my set against Awesome Sean, I very specifically thought, I'm the underdog in this situation, or I have like a lead I need to like make up, and how am I going to like, go about doing this? So I wasn't very emotional against, I think, anyone I played, except maybe Swiftbase a little bit. Like my matches against him are always like, super hard. He pushes me really hard. But yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Glad to hear that, definitely.
Yeah.
So set 1 of winners finals. I believe it was a 3-1 over Swift, and then he comes back off the box, finally in controller in hand, just barely clutches out of Game 5 in set 1 of Grands. It was so close. I was on the edge of my seat watching that personally. But then you definitely, I watched you. Obviously, you got up, you walked away, you took a second to breathe. What was going through your mind at that point, post reset?
Well, I'm not a very like clever player, and I don't feel like I'm like a particularly talented Smasher. So like I can't really like change my mentality at the drop of a hat. So like if I have the time, I always like take some time between matches to think about like what's going on, Melee is such a fast game that you can't really process, like, a lot that actually happens at Melee is just based on intuition. But you have time to think between matches. And you have time to, like, consider what's working, what's not working. So, you know, I took like a 5-minute break against him. I got some water, you know, like I did my like whole like ritual, but staying hydrated like really helps me think. This is gonna sound kind of crazy, but like, you know, when I drink water, I believe that I am water. It's like pretty zen, but it's just that I really need to like, I need to like change my sensation a little bit to not just, you know, being in like the state of the game. I want to like step back for a second, and I think taking breaks is like a really big component of that.
I mean, it definitely made a big difference in that second set. Game 1 was definitely a much more, it felt like you had a lot more control over the Marth matchup, especially. But then games 2 and 3, he pulls out that Falco. And I know...
Was it a 3-0 in the second set? I thought
you did 3-0 him
wow.
very solidly.
It felt like a 3-2 or a 3-1 in the second set, but...
Well, those games definitely... Even though it felt like the same length as the first set, I felt like because of the fact that it was second set of grands, every stock, every second felt like it had more weight to it. So it probably made things feel longer.
Yeah.
At least that would be my guess.
I wouldn't read too much into like, you know, oh, this guy's tilted, or like, you know, this guy like, you know, the first set was just like a data round or something. People say things like that, but honestly, like when you respawn in the game, that's like a new life for you. That's like a new opportunity to like, you know, push yourself as hard as you can. And, you know, every game is the same way. Every set is the same way. So you can't really carry over, like, emotions from, like, a previous set. That doesn't really help you at all. So, yeah, for the most part, like, just going between sets, the most important thing for me is just to remind me that I'm me and that, you know, whatever I've learned from Swiftbase or any other great player, you know, I want to, like, see how I can apply it towards the game.
That is very well thought out. I very much appreciate that. So, what's next for Tian? Is there anything you're planning on going to soonish? Is there like a major you're planning on going to? Is there a plan to be coming down more often to Connecticut for locals, or
yeah, well,
or
I'm
definitely
definitely
Shine in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to Shine for sure.
Definitely.
Yes. I have a crew I need a shout out for Shine. It's called Tian's VNs.
Tian's VNs.
Yeah, and it's like full of weeaboos, but a lot of my friends are into anime, and we made a crew based on like filled with you know, really good players who also happen to like anime. So shoutouts to Zealous 5000. He and I thought about this and we were like, yeah, let's get a crew together. And we're playing with Dudasai, Mr. Tuesday, hopefully Swiftbase, and I think Win. But it's looking to be like a pretty sick crew.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. I actually don't have a doubles partner yet for Shine, but I definitely want to like give doubles a good shot. I don't know what it's been. I think I haven't gone to tournaments enough, but I really like doubles. And
doubles is so much fun.
Yeah, I haven't had like a steady teammate for a while, but I definitely want to like give teams like a really good shot, and of course singles. So
have you talked to Swift? Is Swift teaming with anyone yet?
Swift and I don't know. We've teamed before. We've been really good teams before in the past. He and I were like really long-term team partners for a long time, like for 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
But that was at a point where he was like co-maining Fox and Marth, and now he's just switched over to Marth Cold Turkey. And Marth Sheik is not like particularly the best team. It can go pretty well, but you know, there's sort of like a lack of definition as to who plays carry and who plays support, and they don't have the best conversions off of one another. They fulfill similar roles. So, you know, since then we've like played teams a little bit less, or you know, a little bit less seriously. But like, I really want to play teams, and it's like, you know, one of my favorite aspects of the game. But apart from that, I'm going to Hall of Gaming this Thursday. Hopefully I can play some more Connecticut players. In particular, I really want to work against work for my Falco matchup, which I feel like is one of my relatively weaker matchups. And you know, the Connecticut Falco talent pool is so deep. So I would love to do that. And I'm moving to Connecticut in the middle of August, like around August 15th or so.
Nice.
So I'll be like a Connecticut native, and hopefully I'll be able to get good sets against like, you know, Connecticut's best, like Lint and Slox, Bolt, Thumbs. All these guys are freaking amazing.
The Connecticut scene has gotten so much better since you left.
Yeah, I guess it's like a lesser known fact at this point, but I was a Connecticut native for 2.5 years. I met my fiance here, in fact, working at UConn. But, you know, like the scene's changed a lot. GBS didn't exist when I was here. The only tournament you can go to was like Hog. But now there's 2 weeklies every week in Connecticut, and they're all like clustered be the center of the state, so you have your fair pickings. Hog now also has a monthly, which is pretty sick.
Yeah,
and
Hog usually ends up getting a decent amount of out-of-state talent for those monthlies.
Definitely,
too.
yeah. Like guys from Connecticut's honestly a really good scene because it's very like inter-regional. Like you'll have guys from New York coming up, and of course from Connecticut you can go down 95 and visit New York pretty much whatever you want. So there's like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. It's sort of in the center of everything. So, you know, my life's sort of coming like full circle. I'm coming back to Connecticut soon. Really looking forward to that. So
I definitely know that we're all looking forward to that too.
thank you so much. Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having us.
I hope to see you again relatively soon.
Yeah.
If not, then I mean, by the time August rolls around, you should be back. So guys, obviously check him out on Twitter at Tian _SSBM. Are you on anything else? Are you on Twitch, Facebook?
Just my Twitter's fine. Usually, like, if you need to get in touch with me, you know, just message me over Facebook or Twitter. My name's Michael Tian. And I guess one thing I'm working on now is like it's a Google document called Secrets. It sounds kind of like silly, but it's like a live updated. You know, I thought it'd be a really good idea to like sort of crowdsource data gathering and like to write notes that people can either agree or disagree on. But you know, I think it's a good idea to like instead of answering questions for people over and over again, to point them towards a resource, which is like the crystallized, you know, version of what I think of my character and like matchups in very specific situations that are otherwise hard to explain. So yeah, I'll be working on that a lot over the next few months.
Awesome. So guys, obviously check that out. That sounds incredible. Like that sounds so
tweeted out
like,
about it like
so
the other day.
super like meta at this point. Like so like because then you get to take notes on like even the most like little like
Yes.
micro like situations.
Yeah.
That's like a
I
lot
have
of
like
the
4
point.
pages written about tech chasing alone.
4 pages
Because
of tech
it's not trivial, and I think the more you understand about it, like the more confidence you have, and the more understanding you have.
especially on a character like Sheik.
And you know Zelda, right? You know what her Triforce says?
Yeah.
It's wisdom, right? So you have to build to become powerful, you have to build knowledge. So I believe in.
Truer words have never been stated.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We will be back Thursday, as per always, with Project M. And until then, have yourself a beautiful day.
See you guys.
Peace.